Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So, I've said this before, and I feel like it's bear repeating because I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and this is about the whole Ava. I mean, this is about the whole Rafe and Nicole hookup, and my friend was like, "Oh well, I like them together. I think they're cute together, and I don't really like Ava." And I had to agree to disagree with her on that because here's the thing. Regardless of how you feel about Ava, you like her, you don't like her, you like her together, you don't like her together with Rafe and you think that Rafe is better with Nicole, whatever. I'm not gonna sit there and that's to me that's not really a factor. What's a factor is the way that they got together. And the way that they got together was just really crappy. It's like, okay, they wanted to give the fans who like Rafe and Nicole together, they wanted to give that to them. But the way they went about it in such this craptastic way was like, I mean, here's the thing. He cheated on Ava behind her back with Nicole. Okay, he didn't sit there and say, "Hey, listen, we're through, whatever. I'm just gonna be with somebody else." He didn't man up. He didn't man up and just told her flat out. Every time that Ava gave her an out, it gave him an out. He didn't take it. He practically begged this woman to stay. Okay, so at the end of the day, he cheated on her. You know, and when I sit there and I look at that, I'm like, you know what? I'm not too surprised because he cheated on Hope with Sammy, from what I can understand. So at first I was really disappointed at him, and I'm still am. But at the same time, I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe I should kind of expect this behavior because it's not like he didn't cheat before. I just don't like how some of the fans can sit there and overlook that. It really bothers me because, like, even when I was watching like GH or whatever, I was watching GH and um, I was reading in the comment section when the hell's her name, Olivia, kissed Robert. Practically cheated on what's it called, Justin. Cheated on Ned with Robert. She just straight up kissed him. And there was somebody at the bottom. I think it was like maybe one or two people at the bottom. Was like, I like seeing Olivia with Robert. And I'm like, that's your takeaway. That's literally your takeaway. You saw that whole thing, and this is your takeaway. You like seeing Olivia with Robert. That's your takeaway. I had to fight the urge, I guess, to argue with this person, to argue with her, because I just could not understand. I couldn't grasp the concept of, so you're totally cool with the fact that she just kissed another man while still married to this man because you like seeing them together. You didn't really care how that happened. I guess it just kind of bothers me because most people in this world, the majority of people, don't like cheating. So when I hear, oh, I like Rafe and Nicole together, it's like that's your takeaway from that. Not the fact that this dude literally just cheated behind her back after he begged her to stay. I like them together. I don't get that. So going into this episode, Rafe is interrogating Ava, and Ava's like, "Bro, why are you acting so cold? Like I was literally sitting there trying to get a hold of you all night. I finally see you, and you're just like being a dick." Now, he starts questioning her about, Carmine and everything that happened, and Ava's like, oh, my son came back from the grave to sit there and kill him, yada, yada, yada. So, of course, he doesn't believe. He doesn't believe it. Now, Allie was not there talking to Trip about the whole Charlie thing. And honestly, to tell you the truth, she almost seems like she's still in denial. Like, I can't believe this happened. And it has to be another explanation or something. Sweetheart, we all just saw what just happened. So, for her and him to be like, this didn't seem real. Really? Really? That's okay. But yeah, Trip leaves. He gets down to the station, and he pretty much confirms Ava's story. Now, at first, Rafe was like, "Hey, listen, if you want to sit there and start lying to the police, I'm gonna tell you it's not a good idea." I mean, kind of how you lying to your girlfriend or your soon-to-be ex-girlfriend. Really? You want to go there with lying? So, Trip was like, "Listen, I'm not the only person that saw Charlie." He literally came to Allie's place and he tells him the whole story, how he fought, he turned around, disappeared. And at first he was like, but then he remembered Nicole having that same encounter with Deimos and how she turned around and there was nobody. So he was like, he decided to leave and he was going to check on the body. He was going to make sure that the body is there. Now, I guess I'm still just like, are they just like retcon and stuff at this point? Because didn't like, let's see, Jack, Tony, and Abe literally come back from the dead, or maybe they weren't dead. I don't know. The point is, he goes to check. He calls up or whatever. And he's gonna find out what's going on, and then Nicole gets there. Now Brady is not there talking to Marlena. And at first, she's like, oh, I could have swore I heard a man's voice. Because, Marlena's not there talking to herself. Because, why not at this point? And he comes in and he's like, oh, I could have swore it was a man's voice. It's kind of weird. Okay. So, she's like, hey, listen, I got to sit there and get ready to go. Brady's like, I need your advice on something. So he's trying to get advice about how to talk to Rachel about Kristen, her latest stunt. And Marlene's like, how about you just tell her the truth? And at first, Brady's like, I can't, like, she's a child. I'm not telling her mom is doing a bunch of crazy, nut job kind of stuff. And Marlena's like, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you and Chloe. You're lust for Chloe. So at this point, Brady's like, what? So, but that's Marlena started giving Brady just wild, crazy advice that, honestly, tell you the truth, I'm just surprised that Brady was like, what? And granted, there was one point where, he's talking about John and how, he's like, oh, well, John's indestructible. And, Marlena's like, oh, well, we'll see about that. He's like, what? There is again, is that a man's voice? Where's that coming from? But yeah, she started giving him advice, talking about, oh, you need to sit there and seize the opportunity. And just, he literally says, why don't you just put her on the desk and show her how big your boss is or something like that. And he's just like, if I get advice from someone who I've known forever like that, I'm probably going to sit there and say that they're either possessed or they're on some drugs. Like really, really heavy drugs or heavy medication. Because that's not normal for her to sit there and say. Hell, her demeanor, the way she was talking about, like, oh, just, take her and, Philip would understand this, that, and the third. That's not like Marlena. That's not like Marlena at all. And he's just like, oh, it's a little kind of weird, but okay, I guess I'll sit there and at least talk to her. And Marlene's all proud of himself because, earlier was reading reports about, I think, Charlie and all sorts of havoc that he's causing. And now, cause more trouble between Philip and Brady and Chloe. Now Nicole was not there telling Chloe about her, her You know, I guess it's hard for me to sit there and say it's because it's just like this dude literally her passionate night of hot steaming sex with Rafe. That was a lot more tougher than it looked. Um, but yeah, she was all like, "Yeah, we did it right on that conference desk." And so she decides to move all her food over there, and I'm sitting there thinking, Nicole. I mean, granted, I'm glad you did tell her that, but like, she got her breakfast there, and y'all just did all sorts of freaky stuff last night. And I'm like, I guess there was just no sort of common courtesy, right? Like, you didn't bother to like, you was gonna let her just sit there and just eat her muffins and her coffee, drink her coffee on whatever was on that damn table, but sure. So she talks about that, and she's all like, "Oh well, Rafe made it seem like she was done because Ava's in jail," and and Chloe's like, "Yo, you need to sit there and have a talk, because like, you need to sit there and know where you stand." Now at this time, Brady walks in, and of course you see the preview of them just going at it right on the conference table, and I'm sitting there thinking, please tell me this is a dream. Please tell me this is a dream, because I already lost respect for one character. Okay, I already lost respect for one character. Please don't, please don't make me dislike it even more. Of course, it was a dream. It was a dream, so it's like, all right, cool. Because I know Chloe has been doing some things, some questionable things, but I didn't think that she just, well, didn't give a damn by that much. Um, but I guess she does, so that's cool, I guess. Um, but he dreams about it, and then it just kind of just stops. So kind of like Dev Marlena said that at the very least she planted the idea in his head. Well, let's be honest, the idea was already there. It just kind of magnified it. Chanel, 19 minutes into the show, shows up, or maybe even less or even more time than that, but shows up at Allie's place. Because Allie called out sick. And long story short, they talk about Johnny. Because the whole thing really, because Allie was not there asking, like, did Johnny apologize for what he said? Um, And so, she's like, oh, well, he made it up to me and blah, 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 blah. And he helped me bake cookies and stuff. And it's just, all right, cool. I just love how she was like, oh, well, he made it up to me. I was like, sweetheart, let's be honest. You're in the alley. And you sat there and lied to Johnny and made it seem like it was his responsibility to make it up to you. When in reality, he called the situation how he saw it, and you straight up lied to him. But you want to sit there and try to act like you're some sort of boss or something. So, okay, sweetheart, whatever. What else happened? Oh, since Allie didn't want to sit there and tell her the truth what happened with the whole Charlie thing, she was like, oh, I told Trip I loved him. And of course, you can hear in her tone that, Chanel was kind of disappointed, but she was all like, oh, I'm so happy for you guys. I know this is what he wanted when he was talking to me behind your back, which I totally lied, and I'm sorry. Literally, that's more or less that's how that scene went. But of course, you can tell that she seemed like she was heartbroken about it. I'm not gonna lie, this whole love triangle thing is an absolute mess, and I feel that I feel like in some sort of ways it could have been handled better. And I don't know if this was a way of they didn't know what they wanted to really do as far as go with the character. Um, Especially by adding Johnny into the mix. Because I felt like it was one of those things where it's like, I feel like there might have been a completely different direction. And I really feel strongly about this. I haven't felt this strongly about this since the whole Sunny versus Cyrus and how that was supposed to go and it didn't. I felt like it was supposed to be a love triangle, and I felt like they were supposed to be together, like Trip and Allie, and then Allie cheats on Trip with Chanel. I felt like that was supposed to happen. I really, really do. And maybe Johnny was supposed to come along, but I felt like maybe they just want to play it safe and not have Allie um, really do anything behind Trip's back. I don't know. I feel like there was a shift in it, in the storyline. Also, they talk about, oh, some person wanted to order a cake. This couple, um, 56 years or something like that. And I was like, what couple is that? I'm sitting there thinking, all right, maybe it's Marlena. Because she's been on the show for X amount of years. Turns out, it is 56 something years of this show being on. I think there might actually be even black and white. Is there black and white? Like, was this show actually in black and white at one point? I gotta look that up. Um, I'm always very impressed each day that this show has such longevity. Because when you stop and think about it, there was more soap operas than this. Okay, there was Guiding Light. There was As the World Turns. There was Passions. There was All My Children. There was Poor Charles. There was One Like to Live. We had so many more soap operas back in the day compared to now. And I remember me and now his name is Soap Sanctuary was talking about um, how there was a lot more shows back in the day. No, we were sitting there talking about Beyond Salem because that was supposed to be a test run. That the former Sunny was sitting there talking about, like if it did really well, then they were going to sit there and thinking about moving Days over to streaming. I don't know if it actually really went that well, but I think that wasn't for the fact that like they try to test to see if people are gonna really like that soap opera, that maybe they can do soap operas online through streaming service. But the problem with that is that I felt like it wasn't a good test. Um, and that was more the quality of the show. I felt like a lot of people didn't like that show. Like some stuff was kind of cheesy and kind of cringy, even for a soap opera. Um, and I think the last scene is Ben, Sierra, and Susan. Because Susan walks on in, she's all like, I have a premonition. And Sierra's like, whoa, how do you know about that? Um, how do you know I'm having a baby or whatever? And there's one point where, Sierra's like, oh, well, I don't really believe her, and how could we believe her? And she's crazy. And I'm like, this is the same chick that actually was responsible for having the town find out that you are still alive. And you're still doubting her? Like, seriously? I was just so surprised that she was like doubting her even right then and there. Like, well, there must have been another reason. Maybe she heard it through Sean and Sean passed it to someone else. And I mean, I get that she was kind of rationalized it just being her annoying self. Because, Susan just sit there and talk about something evil. So it freaked her out. Um, and so she was like, oh, it must be a rational reason behind it. But long story short, she did come to her senses a little bit after Ben left. Because here's the thing. She touched her stomach. It was like, I'm feeling evil. Something like whatever. And it freaked her out. And she passed out. And she woke up and she apologized to Susan. Because, Susan apologized to Sierra because she wasn't there to sit there and try to freak her out. She was just there more to help. Um, and that's when Sierra kind of realized, I guess the brain cells start clicking, that she's been right more than she's been wrong. And she's still standing today because of Susan. So, she was like, listen, I might be a little freaked out, but if there's something going on, danger or whatever, I need to know. So Susan touches her stomach again, and she says there's evil coming. It's like evil, whatever. And that's when Sierra's like, it's the baby. Is it Ben's genes? Was he right? And that's when Sirius was like, no, it's not coming from the child. It's coming from someone else. Now, because she passed out, Ben goes to get Marlena. And, Marlena's like, hey, listen, I'm about to go. Because, she's all like, I'm about to kill John Black today. Because apparently I totally forgot that I was going to sit there and use him for nefarious purposes. Nefarious purposes. I'm going to kill him today. But when Ben says that, Sierra's pregnant, Marlena, once again, acts out of character, is super Harry, pulls Ben in the room. Ben is just like, yo, where did you get this strength from? And, starts hugging him and is all excited and stuff like that. And Ben is like, and don't get me wrong, Marlena would normally be basking in Ben's joy. But not on that level. And I guess because of plot, this is the way we're going about it. We're just, he's surprised, he's shocked, he's been shocked about, here's the thing, he's been noticing that there's a personality shift in her for quite some time, but not shocked enough to actually do anything about it. So, I don't know if this is just plot versus common sense, dumbing down the character for plot, or just the fact that maybe Ben isn't the brightest bulb. Maybe that's it too. Let's be honest. Ben has done some things, some very questionable things that I just been like, bro, are you serious? What's wrong with you? Like, seriously, did you not get enough hours of sleep or something? Like, there's been times I've been watching them like, I don't know about you, but I don't know. Anyway, I feel like that's about it. At least the majority of the stuff that happens, I'm, like always, feel like I'm missing something. So if I did, write it down in the comment section below. With that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. I will see you in the next video.